It's on Facebook. So it's on Facebook. The name is Mike, and I believe the last name is Hooves. Hooves is the name. Okay, yeah. So MIKEHOOVES, and then the title would be volunteer coordinator.
At 15 kilometers an hour. I can't complain though, because back in 1967 there was actually minus 27 on this very day. That is quite cold. I'm happy I'm here and not back then. Back to you, Tanner.
Thanks, Brooke. Well, I am happy that it's still warming up. So, Mo, the Flames have been having a really good season, but last night probably wasn't their best.
You know, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, and they were extremely aggressive. They were able to manage 36 shots on goals, but sometimes life just works that way. However, they've still had an amazing season, and we're going to talk about that later in the show.
Cool, sounds good. Well, we'll take a look at today's top stories. The upcoming provincial election carries heavy implications for all Albertans. Given the current state of Alberta's economy, some of the major issues will surround Alberta's rising unemployment rate. But what about students? Danny Seymour reports on what this election could mean for post-secondary students in Alberta.
Tuition. It's one of the biggest financial investments people make in their lives. Since 2015, the NDP government has put a freeze on tuition for post-secondary institutions in Alberta, including SAIT. But what will happen after the April election? Lower tuition sounds great, but it does have its drawbacks.
In Ontario, they said that they're going to decrease tuition by 10%. While students may think that's great on the front end, on the back end, they're just going to get a lower quality of education.
The New Democrats have been adamant tuition remain low, but that means many institutions have had to cut services, especially behind the scenes, or increase class sizes.
When we are broached with examples like that of just quality of programming going down, yes, it could be linked to government legislation and a decrease to funding, but institutions also play a large role in that.
SAIT is known for the hands-on learning and industry preparation it provides, but all of that comes at a cost that may not be fully covered by tuition. Students have varying opinions on the issue, though. Increased tuition could mean higher quality of education, but at the same time, it could deter students from post-secondary institutions.
It's nice to have more services when you're at school, so I think that if the price increased, you would just hope that the services increase as well. So, but of course, being that I am a part-time employee and I'm trying to do full-time school, a reduced price is obviously the best choice.
No, I'd rather pay more tuition and get more out of my education.
I'd be against it just because it's super expensive, and you know, I can't afford everything I'd like to because I have to pay tuition, right? So having a tuition freeze definitely helps, I'd say.
Between 1992 and 2015, when the tuition freeze started, the cost of attending a post-secondary institution in Alberta increased 267%, the second most of any of the provinces. The tuition freeze has been in effect long enough that inflation has significantly increased in Alberta. Fortunately for Alberta students, they won't know the future of tuition until the new government is elected, so for now, all they can do is hope that the new government won't break their bank. For State NewsFile, I'm Danny Seymour.
As the provincial election campaign continues, Rachel Notley's NDP party and Jason Kenney's United Conservatives continue to butt heads and take shots at one another. Both were in Calgary today, and as Danica Ferris reports, our city is considered the main battleground in this upcoming election.
It's a provincial election campaign that's being hard fought by all the parties, and it's getting nasty. UCP leader Jason Kenney has expressed his party's plan to change a privacy protection policy in schools, and last night in Edmonton, a march organized by an NDP staffer showed support for gay-straight alliances. Today, NDP leader Rachel Notley announced a new plan for K-12 education. It includes protecting LGBTQ+ youth.
While Mr. Kenney is determined to pick on gay students, with us, all students will be protected. We will not stop standing up and protecting those kids.
Kenney chose to use his day in Calgary to announce a new health policy that includes $10 million a year towards a new program that will work to tackle the opioid dependency crisis.
One of the reasons we have a growing opioid addiction crisis in this province is exactly because so many people waiting for surgery end up being prescribed powerful painkillers, which turn into a debilitating addiction in too many cases.
Kenny says their new health plan would attempt to replicate an initiative put in place by the provincial government in Saskatchewan in 2010. But despite Kenny's description of what he called one of the most detailed medical plans in provincial election history, questions still arose about his party's alleged anti-immigration stance and problems with diversity.
In fact, we have more ethnocultural diversity amongst our 25 Edmonton area candidates than the NDP has amongst its 87 candidates province-wide.
Kenny once again pointed to attack ads put out by the NDP and said that his party will not stoop to that level. When asked about the GSA march taking place in Calgary tonight, Kenny called it an NDP distraction tactic, taking away from his new medical initiative. For State NewsFile, I'm Danica Ferris.
Technology is hard to keep up with every day since it's advancing so fast, and artificial intelligence is a field that's growing especially fast. SAIT has joined the ring of more advanced technologies, and they're excited to introduce into the education community. Teachers do a great job and are just human, but Dr. Pierre Belanger believes the technology will be more patient.
Well, I think a machine has the advantage of being infinitely patient as opposed to a teacher. And so being able to, like you said, create a student-specific model that actually will enhance the learning of the student.
Although AI may cause job loss due to less knowledge and training, SAIT is ready to buckle down and train people in high-tech technologies. SAIT offers many apprenticeship programs to help students hit the ground running when they get into the industry. Former student Leon Hewer, who attended the electrical program in the past year, has been working in the industry ever since he left SAIT. Jordan Bay reports on how the program helped him get his foot in the door.
Leon Hewer came to SAIT just under a year ago, looking to become an electrician. Little did he think he would have nearly a year of industry experience under his belt after he graduated. The SAIT Electrical Apprenticeship Program helped Hewer go from a student to an employee in industry in just a few short months and gave Leon the skills to thrive in the workforce.
Yeah, for sure. After I did the program, they helped me find a company right away. I got a job within like 2 weeks, and everything they taught me really helped me go far in the company.
Academic chair for the McPhail School of Energy, Ryson Jordan, says there's a reason SAIT students are so successful in these programs.
So a lot of them have a lot of great skills. They have great work ethic. They've already become part of their trade. What we're able to do is really provide them with some of the more technical details, and then for electrical in particular, a lot of the code regulations.
The pay isn't bad either, with most electricians making close to $40 an hour, and it's a growing industry. Electrical jobs in Canada are expected to increase about 9% over the next 6 years. For Leon, he is adamant the program has been a big help and even recommended it to friends, and they've listened.
My friend Leon, actually, he did it in September, and he was telling me that he really liked it and it was super interesting. And I was kind of looking for something that wasn't too academically involved, so I don't know, kind of just did it, and I really like it so far.
With apprenticeship programs like this, SAIT helps ensure students get out of the classroom and into industry with as much knowledge as possible, and Leon is just one example. For State NewsFile, I'm Jordan Bay.
The Alberta University of the Arts Spring Show and Sale kicks off today with hundreds of Alberta's best young artists showing off their talent in art. Ryan O'Donnell is live at the show and has had the chance to speak with staff and students. Ryan, how's the 29th annual show looking so far?
Well, it's just about to get started here as people begin to pile in, and students are excited, and for good reason, let me tell you. Hundreds of pieces of art are sprawled out across the university, including paintings, photography, ceramics, and more. And students, they have the opportunities to submit up to 10 pieces each to be displayed, but most importantly, to be sold here. 100% of sales from the show go straight to students' pockets, which can be huge for 30% of students who are self-employed and sell their art on their own after they graduate. Now, obviously, this is a big opportunity for students. That's why I have a former student here, Mike Hooves. Mike, you actually participated in this sort of event when you were a student here. Now, when you were here, how important was it for you to have your art sold or even just be put up for sale?
It was really important. I actually did it in my final year of school, so I think it's a really great opportunity. I think if you take advantage of it earlier in your degree, it's even better, but just having that real-world experience with pricing and seeing people experience your art as kind of something you can sell is really valuable.
And for the school as a whole, how valuable is this for them to put on for the past 29 years?
So I think it's really important. It's been running for that long, I think, because it's one thing to have your practice and to be stuck in your studio working on your art. It's another thing to have practical exposure with your work and have people interacting with it, seeing what sells, seeing how other people sell their work and package it is really valuable as well. That commercial side of art, because as fun as it is to make art, at the end of the day, if you want to make a living as an artist, it's really important to know how to sell your work and how to present it properly. So the show and tell is a really good way of doing that.
And do you think for the students, this experience of having that sell, that's part of their education, that's part of everything that they need to learn here while they're studying at the university?
Yeah, and it's something that you do learn to a degree in your courses, but getting the practical experience, like I said before, and actually having your feet on the ground and working with it is really important as well, having that real-world experience with it.
Well, it's obviously a really cool event, and we're really glad that you can actually join us live here. So the event kicks off in about a half an hour here, so I think I should probably go and check out some of the beautiful art from all across, really, the types of art here that they have to offer. So yeah, I'll throw it back to you, Tanner.
Ryan O'Donnell reporting live from the Alberta University of the Arts. The show will run till Saturday with over 3,000 pieces being showed. The City of Calgary is preparing to offer nearly 20 new construction projects as part of the development of the Green Line LRT. Stage 1 of Alberta's largest transit line will be 20 kilometers in between 16th Ave North and 126th Avenue Southeast. One aspect that raises serious concerns are the businesses on 16th Ave that are connected to Centre Street and whether or not the city will have a plan in place to help save their businesses.
I think at the end of the day, it's going to open your business, up to more opportunities to expand because you're exposing yourself to more people in the south and in the north as well. If you connect those two areas of our city together, and then obviously through downtown, I think just more flow throughout the city is a good thing for businesses.
The main goal of the investment is to allow Calgarians to have more options while using public transportation. Those are today's top stories. We'll have your full forecast for you after the break. But first, Brooke Botcher has a couple ideas for those of you looking for date night events.
Today, Cher will be at the Saddle Dome on her Here We Go Again tour at 7:30 p.m. The Toastmasters, which has nothing to do with toast, is hosting a meeting tonight at 7 p.m. at the BP building. Have you ever wanted to get into the real estate business? Well, now's your chance. With Real Estate for Dummies, classes tonight at 6:30. And the Gateway will be hosting Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic tonight at 8. Randy's is a band, and the tickets are just $17 at the door. The Nordic Folk Dance Society invites you to come join in tonight at the Scandinavian Center. Lastly, if you want to take your mind off stress, check out one of the meditation classes offered tonight at 7.
The Alberta Animal Rescue Crew Society is focused on rehabilitating animals. Changing the lives of these animals through kindness is the vision and the passion. ARCS is designed as an emergency and quarantine shelter to help animals get back into the world. Animals are an important part of all communities, and ARCS works to create a safe world for these beautiful creatures. Help ARCS help animals by giving them a loving and respecting home. To find out more or to donate, visit arcs.ca.
Just that easy.
Visit our website today.
It's looking like it's going to be a pretty cloudy day across Canada. Let's start with the western side. So as you can see, it's pretty cloudy. However, Vancouver's looking pretty nice right now with 8 degrees. It is expected to warm up even more throughout the week. Not that surprising though for Vancouver, considering it's always very rainy. Going into Edmonton, it is right now at -2 and it's expected to get colder, getting some more rain and some snow later on in the week. Let's take a look at the eastern side. So as you can see, it's pretty cloudy as well across the eastern side of Canada. However, if you look at St. John's, it is clear skies and is expected to get nicer throughout the week. However, if you look at Toronto, for example, right now it is raining and it is expected to get a little colder later on as well. Let's take a look at the resorts. Our resorts are looking nice today as expected. Palm Springs and Cancun are both sitting at 27 degrees and partly sunny. Orlando and Las Vegas are both sitting at 23 degrees and mostly sunny with a few clouds. But looking the nicest right now is Honolulu with clear skies and 28 degrees. It's pretty mild temperature right now in Calgary with 6 degrees and mostly sunny. It is a little bit of a wind chill though, with 15 kilometers an hour coming from the south, and overnight it is expected to get a little colder with -1 overnight. Let's take a look at that Alberta map. So as you can see, pretty cloudy. However, we're lucky to be in Calgary today because it is the only spot that, as you can see, is clear skies. As you can see up to the north of Alberta, Fort McMurray is at -1, expected to get colder, not too shockingly. Calgary and Edmonton are expected to get a mixture of rain and snow later in the week as well. So watch out for that looking later on. Let's take a look at the 5-day. So as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, overnight expected to get colder. However, if you look over to tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday, beautiful weekend with clear skies, even hitting the double digits on Sunday and Saturday. However, like I mentioned, Monday, not going to be good with rain and snow, so the roads will probably be a little icy looking into the start of the next week. Let's take a look at the snow report. It looks like it's going to be another great day for skiing, with a few hills receiving snow last night. Fernie received a total of 3 inches, but isn't ideal for today since it may be a bit icy considering it is raining, cloudy, and 11 degrees. Lake Louise, on the other hand, is looking perfect for skiing and received 12 centimeters last night. Right now, the base is sitting at about 170 centimeters and a nice 4 degrees and sunny. Sunshine, although it didn't receive any snow last night or this morning, does have a chance of snow coming up tonight and has a nice base of about 66 inches and nice packed powder on the runs, and is also expecting some more snow throughout this week, so there will be lots of fresh powder coming up. All in all, it's looking to be a pretty nice day if you plan to go skiing.
Well, Mo, March Madness is in full effect, and I know those brackets are kind of iffy, so.
You know what? I'm not gonna do that. Let's forget about the brackets there, because I didn't even do mine because I was that scared. But it's just amazing to see just a lot of young teenagers just going out there and playing the game of basketball just for the love. Exciting. But before we do that, we're actually gonna hit the ice as the Calgary Hitmen are getting set for Game 4 tonight at the Dome in their best-of-7 playoff series against the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Jake Foster joins us live from the newsroom to preview tonight's matchup.
Well, Mo, the theme for this Hitmen team all season long has been resilience. And now, well, they're hoping to stick with that theme as they head into Game 4 tonight against the Hurricanes.
Turn on the red light. Ryder Korzak makes it 1-0 Calgary.
Hockey playoffs are unique. It's not March Madness. It's not the Super Bowl. In a 7-game series, 1 loss is not enough to end your year. And in the case of the Calgary Hitmen, neither is 2 losses. This is what the Hitmen are focusing on right now, the ability to take their losses and learn from them. This playoff series put the Hitmen in a position they are no stranger to. After losing 14 of their 20 games to start this season, the Hitmen were able to learn from their slow start and turn the season around and clinch a berth in the playoffs. Starting the series down 2-0 now, the Hitmen are hoping they've flipped the switch once again. And for assistant coach Trent Casson, it's about trusting the process.
Talk a lot about
the process too. And I know that's a word that's used a lot, but just of it's a long and winding road, and how you get to the end product, it's never going to be straight. There's always going to be a lot of ups and downs, and you know, we certainly went through them, but it's handling probably those moments where things don't go your way, how quickly you can bounce back, and we've done a good job of that.
Goaltending coach Jason LaBarba credits rookie goalie Jack McNaughton for the turnaround.
When he got the ball in November, he ran with it, and again, we didn't know. He didn't know if he was going to be able to do it, and he did it, and he did it like unbelievably, and he arguably saved our season at that point.
Now McNaughton and the rest of the Calgary Hitmen will look to tie the series back up at 2 tonight. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. And if this game's anything like the one we saw on Tuesday, Mo, we're in for an exciting hockey game.
Jake Foster previewing tonight's matchup live from the State Newsroom. The Calgary Flames season is one to remember as they're inches closer not only to win the Pacific Division, but there's a possibility they could lock up home ice in the West. They were taking on the Dallas Stars at the Saddle Dome, who are still trying to make the playoffs. Alex Radulov gets the party started by dancing and fencing his way through the Flames defense. Look at him go, like he owns the team. The Stars are not done yet, as Miro Heiskanen from the face-off circle makes it 2-0 for Dallas halfway through the third. It isn't looking good for the Calgary Flames, but TJ Brodie with a minute and a half cuts the deficit to 1 and on a juicy rebound. But it won't be enough as the Flames fall to the Stars 2-1. As the Flames still hold a comfortable 6-point lead in the division and the conference, the Stars lost their starting goalie Ben Bishop in the second period with a lower body injury. We're going to stay on the ice as the final push for the playoffs keeps heating up. If the playoffs started today, 3 Canadian teams would be playing for the Stanley Cup. In the East, the Montreal Canadiens and the Blue Jackets are battling in Columbus. With the win, the Blue Jackets will be able to tie the Montreal Canadiens for the final wildcard spot. In the West, it is as tight as only 2 teams have been officially eliminated from the playoffs. The Flames and the Winnipeg Jets could have the first 2 rounds at home ice advantage if they somehow manage to keep that pace, which would be pretty cool. The grass is green, and once again, the MLB season is underway. And the action started earlier today as the Toronto Blue Jays were playing their home opener and hosting the Detroit Tigers and future Hall of Famer Miguel Cabrera. Marcus Stroman got the nod on the opening through 6 scoreless inning. He only allowed 2 hits and struck out 6. Let's just admire Stroman going at work. Look at him. He's cooking. He's feeling good. He strikes out the side at the top of the 5th, and then he left. He does get some outfield help with a pop-out, and he isn't done just yet. How about one more strikeout just for insurance? The Toronto Blue Jays, last time we checked, were still tied at the top of the 8th, and the Tigers right now are actually up 2-0. The madness resumes tonight, and oh boy, it is ever sweet. The Sweet 16 mean those lights are only going to shine brighter for those young teenagers. The Cinderella story belongs to Oregon, who remain the lowest rated seed in the tournament, and they'll have their hands full against Virginia. Tomorrow night, Duke is going up against Virginia Tech. And yes, I mentioned Duke because of Zion Williamson. Their last game against UCF had a viewership of just under 13 million, which is the most than any other NBA game this year. Just like the NHL, the NBA teams are fighting for those last few weeks of the regular season action before the playoffs start. The Toronto Raptors have pretty much locked up the 2nd seed in the East and are in the Big Apple tonight as they face off against the ever-struggling New York Knicks. If the playoffs started today, Toronto would play the Detroit Pistons and their former head coach Dwayne Casey. Wouldn't that be fun? In the West, don't bother looking at anybody else other than the Golden State Warriors, because really, nobody else matters. It's something most Calgary athletes hope for, but very few ever get. The Booster Club's annual Athletes of the Year awards are some of the most humbling awards in Calgary, the athletic community. This year, Specials Olympic Athlete of the Year, Justin Thompson, has been competing for 7 years in swimming and floor hockey. Thompson says he loves the Special Olympics because of what it stands for.
It's all about inclusion. Everyone's included in everything, and I think more people should just get involved.
The other 2 notable winners were Alex Goff for Female Athlete of the Year and for Male Athlete, Justin Crisp. And that's a look at sports. Tanner?
Well, March Madness looks insane. It's always the best basketball for sure.
Oh, yes,
so I'm
it
happy
is.
to see that.
Oh, yes, it is.
When it comes to knitting, it can take a fair amount of time to complete an item. Find out how to get it done faster after the break.
The Cochrane and Area Humane Society provides surrounding community members the opportunity to become pet owners. The Cochrane and Area Humane Society offers new pet owners educational classes that teach responsible pet ownership. You can get involved with the Cochrane and Area Humane Society by visiting them or by calling 403-932-2072.
Why do we got a straw? Oh, for my drink, bro. Yeah, here, man. Look.
What do you think about when the word weaving is mentioned? Well, at the Alberta University of the Arts, you can take a course in fiber and major in weaving. St. NewsFile's Eliza Nystrom's taking us on quite an adventure.
So the weaving program here starts as an introductory class in second year. So you learn all the basics for weaving, different techniques, different ways to weave. And then starting in third year, you go into more a self-directed studio practice. So there's people doing tapestry and complex weaving in the third year classes, I believe. So tapestry is on the big upright looms, doing pictures, everything like that, where complex weaving is like double weave, so you weave two things at once on one warp, which is what's on the loom. So yeah, it's a very busy program. There's a lot of people very interested in weaving. Usually pretty full classes. All of us going gets pretty loud, despite the fact that you think weaving will be quiet, because the reeds are really loud when you have to hit the thread into the weaving. But we use a loom, so it's a big upright loom. In first year we use a 4-harness loom, but there's up to 16 harness looms here. So each harness you can put thread through, and it makes more complex designs the more harnesses you get. A block weave pattern, instead of patterning out thread by thread, we pattern inch by inch, which makes big blocks in the weaving. And we also are using really thick material, so we're either using really chunky yarn, like doubled to quadrupled for each pass, or we're using cloth. So people have like cut up t-shirts and jeans and are now putting it into their weaving, so we're making rugs. You don't have to use yarn, you could use string, you can use cloth, you can weave paper, really anything that's movable that you can put in there. Someone has woven in the past here in this program nails into their weavings.
Cool, those are really nice. So guys, summer is on the horizon, and everybody kind of just wants to hang out by the pool, you know, and just like these Lego guys here, check it out. Well, I know that's definitely going to be me this summer for sure. I love swimming. And for all of us here at St. NewsFile, thanks for joining us today. Thanks.